First of all, thanks for having me here, Peter. It's always good to spend time with you, your crew, and Sam. But my name's Dennis Gingrich, Sales and Finance Director at the Niello Company in Sacramento, California.
Sam, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so Sam Dark, COO, Zeigler Auto Group.
What are some of the things you're looking at metric-wise for the health of the dealership? What is like the true metrics that you're looking at?
I mean, for me, we're relentlessly watching our phones.
Okay.
We're really big into phone data, and then just making sure our inventory is merchandised. It has to be standing tall, not only physically, but digitally. It needs to be pictured, priced, described. Everything needs to be dialed in, because that's an obstacle. If as a leader, we're not properly merchandising our inventory, we're not serving our employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're there to sell and make money for them and their families so they can make some great memories for themselves when they're not on the clock. So it's
making a good marketing funnel, and making sure all the pieces are in place to make it easy for them to do their job, which is what you said in the very beginning, right?
correct.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then for you, Sam, at least from what I gathered when we were interviewing each other, you're pretty hands-on, but obviously with 41 stores, you can't be your hands on everything. So how much of your day is delegating to direct reports, or do you find yourself in the deep work or the processes of the organization often?
So I'll go off Dennis's answer a little bit. I think one of the great parts about what we do is removing those obstacles, right?
Sure.
So I work for a great owner that started the organization.
Aaron.
His dad did, started it 50 years ago is the anniversary this year. The son took it over in early 2000s and has blown it into an empire from one location up to 41 stores.
Wild.
And I think one of the strengths of our culture is empowering individuals to understand the vision and what we're trying to achieve and accomplish, and then empowering and holding totally accountable for that end result. And when an employee, when a general manager, a sales manager, a finance manager, a salesperson, all the way down to a porter, when they see how they can impact and change the world and make a difference, they hold themselves accountable in a way that micromanaging or trying to do things daily, I just get in the way if I try to do that, right? So I love what Dennis says, because a lot of the time is, hey, this lender is giving me the runaround. I haven't gotten a return phone call on getting a deal funded, and it's 90 days, and we have a contact high level, and we can pull a lever, or hey, our DMS is down, or there's a problem, right?
Not good.
We actually have a hotline where if one of our major services go out, you text, and then instantly, rather than 10 sales managers trying to call an 800
emails to the same place,
instead of a 100 or 10 sales managers trying to call an 800 support line, we can make one phone call to the highest level person. So as a larger group, we like to do business with people at a higher level. We like to hold them accountable, just like we do our individual GM. So, if you're saying, hey, what's that checklist? There's not really a checklist, because it's just daily trying to make sure, is the vision of what we're trying to do, is it preserved? And are we moving in the direction of that vision? And then to Dennis's point, are we doing everything we can to remove every roadblock? Not every, because people have to do their own thing, but what are we doing to remove the big obstacles that if they try to do it themselves would be inefficient, right?
So when we also talked in our interview, you talked about, and you just said it too, is empowering employees to do their job.
Yeah.
You guys have a whole different level of personal development that you subscribe to and allow your employees to do this. Can you talk a little bit more about that, or give us a couple of great examples of how that's turned out well for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting. This is buzzing. I'm gonna kill that so it doesn't. That'll be annoying.
You can call them right here from
throw
the
it away, right? I need to phone a friend for that answer. No. So we have a program called Zeigler University, and our idea is, if you come in as a porter and you want to become a salesperson, or you want to become a finance manager, or you want to become a GM one day, why go outside for that experience? A lot of people will go away, get experience, and then come back, or they'll go to college, or they'll go to some upper level education. Our idea is, let's keep them in-house where they can understand the culture, they can understand the things that we value, and let's give them the tools and the path to progress on their own. Now we don't
grow within the organization.
Yeah, grow within there. So we have what we call performance groups for each one of the major roles. So general manager, finance manager, even for technicians, which is one of the toughest roles to hire for in all of automotive today. You go in, you study. It's above and beyond your job, so it's something you've got to do extra and outside. And then over time you progress, and then you get an opportunity at that promotion when it comes along. It's not guaranteed, but it's an opportunity.
This is really great because earlier on, from a growing business, from my perspective, we think, okay, we need this new person to do this new job, and so obviously payroll is high, right? It's a high expense, and it's always something you have to watch. But it's an investment in the business too. So when you go and invest in a person to do this specific role, here you are taking this person in, but also fostering this growth internally, and that's a great way to protect your investment, right? Yeah,
it's crazy. Dennis and I both worked at a place where, so speaking of development, where if you had family members that worked within the company, that was kind of not looked positively upon.
Sure.
In our organization, we actually try to get as much family, father, son, daughters, moms, great-grandparents. We have an office manager whose son and grandson work for us, and great-grandson work for us.
Wow.
And they're all working, very closely
generations,
right? So to your point, like somebody comes into the organization, instead of like trying to create barriers or asking them to leave, get the experience and come back, or hey, you can't work with family or you can't work with somebody that's too much friend. We spend so much time at work. We value the idea of let's bring all the best people around us.
Yes.
Create a path, give them tools to succeed, and then just let them go win.
It's a good way to be, I think, overall. And the better that you get as an organization, you're now attracting these people, right? So if the grandma or the older woman there had a good experience working for you, they're saying, hey, there's an opening here, grandson, granddaughter, whatever it is, and they really foster that growth. That's pretty wonderful. So back to you, Dennis, what's a great example of you directing a person to success in your organization that turned out better than expected for you?
We got so many great stories, and it really kind of piggybacks off what Sam says, is just, talking about early and often what people want to be when they grow up, whether that be within our organization or outside their organization. But, when we have our new employee orientation, I always tell them, hey, whatever you want to do, make sure you're talking about it out loud so we can help you get where you want to be. And there's one particular individual that came to us, from another organization as a salesperson that had managerial experience in the past, but in a totally different culture, just different, right? And he came on board and just said, hey man, just trust the fact that if you come to work and make it happen and you deliver in that role, I promise you this opportunity will come. And sure as hell, man, he just put his foot through the floorboards, gas. Next thing you know, he got into finance. He doesn't even have a full year in the business.
Wow.
And he last year ended up being the number one in the entire company. He's got a brand new baby, another one on the way. And just to, let them go and let them learn and let them fail and give them the support. I think that's key, giving people a safe place to fail and embrace their failures, but help them learn from it so they can.
There's not many other places other than automotive where you can pretty much walk in off the street with enough gusto to want to go to work, and then that was the common thread I found with dealers and cars getting coffee, is every time I interviewed a leader, like one of you, you told me you're picking up cigarette butts, right? You're starting as a detailer, all these different things, and I just find that so amazing. And 1 in 7 people works for automotive either directly or indirectly, like for a company like us. What do you say, or how would you describe your leadership style? Either one of you.
I would say I want to mirror the amount of engagement. If I have an engaged employee, I want to mirror the amount of engagement they want, because I can't if I have somebody that's not really engaged and doesn't care, like I can't out care them. That is the hardest thing.
Horse to water around.
Horse to water. And I think, I want to support, I want to push people to grow. We have core values that we live by. We're a team. We respect one another, and then we have high expectations.
Yeah.
And so we often talk about high expectations and how important that is. And I would say I want to help them get to where they want to be. I don't want to take them where I think they need to go.
Right.
If they have a direction somewhere, I think it's my job to foster that desire to grow and help them get there. So I would say more a supportive, because I work for an individual who's very good at what he does, but he was very micromanagement, and that is the exact opposite of what I want to do.
Sure. I've had an experience. My experience of like what you call leadership, like ultimately, if I have to be your boss, we have a different problem on our hands, right? And I have no problem really going and doing something and teaching by example. And where I fall often is going back and really teaching the ins and outs of that. And I've learned so much about that, at least in the last 1 or 2 years of having really great leaders on my team who I've watched build the processes and train people. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're and they're better at it than you are. And so it's really nice to have or be surrounded with people that are actually doing that.
I think I have a couple ladies on our team, Kristen Long, Michelle Apile. I have my title, but I really believe I have 2 super engaged learners.
Sure.
Right. So really my title should be the sales and finance directed, because they're just so good. They take everything. Chris Toll, our controller, and but you got to take feedback from the individuals that are actually doing the job on the daily basis. And I think it is good every once in a while for leaders to get, you don't want to do it too much, but get pulled back down into the weeds from time to time, because just because something worked great a year ago or whatever doesn't mean that same thing holds true.
Yeah,
So
there's
you gotta
no set
get
formula, right? Or there can be for a start, but you need to be willing to change it up.
There's guardrails, right?
Yeah,
You gotta live in there, but the in between is what you gotta hone in.
How about you, Sam? How would you describe your leadership style at that? You're number 2.
Yeah.
So, you're having some pretty high-level conversations there. What's your leadership style, and how do you gently enforce, is a strong word, how do you influence them to do the right thing?
So obviously the owner, the president, Aaron, he sets the vision. So I think part of my job is, what is the vision? What's the goal? What are we trying to work towards?
Right.
And my job is to help ensure that we're progressing towards that, right? And so to Dennis's point, there's guardrails. As long as people are within those guardrails and moving and marching towards that, that's awesome.
You just root them out.
If someone stops or goes backwards, that's a problem, and that's where we would have conversations. Or hey, maybe it's not this job, maybe it's another job. I think one of the things we've done really well within our organization is we realize, hey, not everybody's going to be a great salesperson or a great finance manager or a great general manager. In other organizations, it's like, hey, if you don't work as a finance manager, you're out. You need to leave and go find something else. We actually have many people within the organization where, we've had tough conversations month after month, maybe 2-3 months. And they're like, hey, listen, I see the vision. I understand what you're trying to achieve and accomplish with this role. It's not for me. What else is there? And they self-select and find a better role. We had one in particular at a Honda store who was finance, went into a general sales manager, went into a GM, just wasn't comfortable with it, didn't feel good about it. Went back in as a finance director, not a great match. Decided to go, hey, I want to go sell cars. Was one of our top 5 salespeople for the next 2 months.
So jumped from those jobs and just did better as you went.
And you know what? In other organizations, it would be like, oh, you're a loser, right?
Yeah.
Like you had this great.
You can't be the accountant.
Yeah. So that's why actually it's interesting is you talk about different roles. Maybe Dennis feels the same way. Like to me, in an organization like ours, we're all marching towards a goal. We all understand the vision. We all have a role in trying to achieve and accomplish that. And the title then becomes a little bit less important. So to that salesperson turned finance manager, sales manager, GM, finance director back to salesperson, he's actually serving our mission as a team better as a salesperson than he ever was
He's
in
probably
any of
happy,
the other roles.
right?
And he's 100% happy.
Right.
And by the way, he'll have other opportunities. I love what Dennis said. Part of growth with a lot of these employees is you've got to give them an area where they can fail, not massively, because you don't want to kill them.
Yeah.
But they've got to be able to make mistakes and learn and grow from those mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And then get another opportunity. I mean,
Sure.
There are examples of people that have made big mistakes, that have made mistakes that in other organizations, hey, we can't trust you anymore because you did X, right?
Yeah.
But if you give them the opportunity to recover from that, they actually will come back stronger if they believe in the vision, if they buy into the culture, if they value their other teammates, and they'll end up being a top performer. I can think of several people that are in that bucket as well within our organization, who I won't name because you don't want that out there, right? But they've grown and they've developed. It's interesting as you talk about this, like leadership style, you talk about culture, you talk about development. I get to do this car dealership guy podcast thing. And,
I was going to segue into that, sure.
Yep, and every week I get to talk to a dealer, and I get to talk to a vendor with a great solution. And I've met a couple of the dealers here at NADA who come up, and it is in one of the episodes, I don't even remember we were talking culture, and they were talking about what a struggle it was to find the right person to be in a GM role. And you realize in some organizations, there isn't that culture. There's not that march towards vision. There's not that commitment to each other. There's not that kind of shared vision. And then the question becomes, well, hey, where do we start to build that? And you can't tell them that, right? Because it's all these little building blocks. Vision's got to be part of it. Education, a path, leadership that allows you to make mistakes and grow from those. There's no one single thing that you can point to. You've got to kind of put your arms around all of them. And Dennis and Niello have done an incredible job of that. And you sense that when you go in their organization.
I know. I can see that everything is really tight. We shot our movie over there. As well. Going back to culture, I just mentioned it again. I'm going to say his name again, but Alex Hormozy, are you familiar with him?
No.
Very, very sort of personal development, but business stuff. But him and his wife say that culture is a very small word, but means a lot, right? Do you show up for each other? Are you on time? Do you respect each other? Do you make sure that you give the other person time to talk and then, think it out and actually have a great response for them? All those things really, culture is really hard to define because everyone can go, oh, we got a great culture. We got great coffee machines. We all dress meaningless. It can be meaningless, right?
There's a basketball coach, Tom Izzo, a Michigan State basketball coach, and he talks about great cultures are teams where it's player-led. And I think that's something else you guys do incredibly at Niello. You're not going to have 10 people on a sales floor see 2 people do something that's totally out of bounds that reflects poorly on the organization. The other 8 are going to go address it with the 2.
Yeah.
And that's another sign of great culture, right?
That's great. Culture, all of those things. But with Niello, you told me, I don't know if I can say this, the percentage of increase you had year over year was pretty astounding. And this is not a commercial for dealers. What did you do differently last year that you feel like pushed that envelope?
We just got rooted in helping people grow. I mean, really, at the end of the day, that was what
align the people.
Align the people. I mean, it's all about our owner Rick Niello, who's an amazing human being. He says we're not in the car business, we're in the people business.
Yep.
And I know it sounds cliche, but it's very matter of fact. It's up to us to, really invest in our people. I mean, we're sitting in this huge hall in New Orleans, and there are countless tools, but none of the tools matter unless we're pouring into our people and providing them the effort. And they got to feel like that culture. They got to feel like we're all striving to do the same mission. Like Sam, and he articulates it over and over again. And anything I hear him talk about, it's always consistent. What he talks about when he's not at work, I know it's the same when he's in between the walls at Zeigler. That has to be the deal. And you have to give these individuals a clear path where they feel like they can grow and they don't feel like they're on the outside looking in. So we have really just focused on on all of our people, whether it be a porter, somebody taking pictures, somebody selling a car, sales manager, just talking about being the best at whatever it is they're doing. And to your story, maybe it didn't work out exactly in the role that they want to be. We got to provide an environment where it's like, success isn't a light switch, right? It's not the same for everybody.
Long gradual thing.
Yeah, and you just got to put people in the right seats, and then the magic happens. And your point about self-selecting, I mean, that is the best case scenario for so many reasons. They feel good. They made their own decision. Not to mention all the HR implications. If they do it on their own, it's a lot better.
Right.
But that's really been the difference. Really focusing on the basics and everything, that just we try to take care of the customer, and if we do that and we take care of one another, everything else just falls into place. Just be a good human being, and the paycheck follows.
That's great. The success part is, I sometimes, my friends are like, Peter, you do so good. It's so great. And I never feel, I feel like I get past break points and things like that, but I never look at myself and go, well, I'm so successful, because I'm always really just digging for the next thing, and trying to continue to push and align our people and give them the right things to do. So
I think that's the job as a leader, right? If you're pushing your company and you want to grow, I know for us, the quickest way to give another employee opportunity is to grow the business, right? If we're not working on growing the business, all the people that make the magic happen every day won't have as readily available opportunity for growth, at least within inside the organization. And we need to grow and give those guys that opportunity, because everybody needs to feel like they're growing if they're feeling like they're contributing to anything.
Or can just get a little stale, and there's certain, and that's how you have C players, right? Just overall, I've been guilty of promoting too quickly and things like that, and certainly noticed the difference. And we're really much more hyper focused on that in the last year and a half as we build out this executive team. So I feel all of that. You guys create a lot of content. One of my favorite things that you guys do is this hot air balloon. I just think it's just so bananas. Like, it is over the community and it's out there, but also it's out there and it's serving the purpose of, obviously, Zeigler's on the side of it.
Yeah.
But then you also have a program or something where some of the employees can help or work with the balloon guys to learn about it as well, which is totally outside of automotive. Didn't you say?
I think so, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that. So the support staff is pretty much volunteer from employees, I suppose.
Okay.
So
yeah.
But we have so it's interesting in automotive. Automotive is fascinating because people come from all backgrounds and they bring their talents from those backgrounds, and they end up making us better in automotive. So you probably have the same. We have a CPA, we have an attorney, we have people. We have a sales consultant. She just got her MBA in she just got her PhD in emotional psychology.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And we actually interviewed her, and I'm like, now what are you going to do? She's like, I'm going to sell cars. I'm like, wait, you got a PhD in this to sell cars? She's like, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm an assassin now.
Well, emotional intelligence, right? It's
emotional intelligence.
Big deal.
So we have a GM at our Maserati store.
Okay.
And he came to work for the organization, and he's a world-renowned hot air balloon pilot. And he's actually consulted on movies like Aeronaut for Netflix. He's consulted on Up and Away, which it's a cartoon. Why would you consult on a cartoon?
How the balloon moves, right?
Apparently that's a big deal, and
yeah.
He did it. And he came to Aaron, and he's like, listen, you need a hot air balloon. And Aaron's like, that's a dumb idea, but give me the business plan. And it was I forget the numbers are, but I'll make them up. $50,000 for the balloon. You buy a $30,000 van to tow it around.
Right.
A little bit of support
You
staff.
got plenty of those, so that's fine.
Now, we got this balloon up over the community, and it attracts eyeballs wherever it is.
Anybody would see that.
Yeah. It makes people smile when they see it, right? And they talk about it. It is the best. It's one of the best.
Social?
Yeah. It's
right?
one of the best, most organic guerrilla marketing. Now we open a store, and we'll have the hot air balloon there. We'll have a NASCAR, because we also do NASCAR.
Right, of course.
And we'll have those things that just get people excited, get them engaged and involved, and want them to have an experience other than buying a car, which can be no fun.
So you guys also do the podcast, right? Are you still doing the podcast? Yep. And then recently now you're working with CDG, car dealership guy.
Yep.
And so what's the overall outcome you're hoping from that?
So
you want to be famous, or
no? The podcast originally came up during COVID. It's
right. I remember
we can't talk to each other during COVID. We can't be together, and we're like, let's communicate at a higher level by putting out this podcast. And Aaron would talk on it. I would talk on it. Our CFO would, and it would be a message that employees could hear, and it would keep that culture and messaging consistent through the organization. Then our vendors are like, we want to hear, because we want to hear what you guys are up to.
Right.
So we did an external one. And then with Yossi and with CDG, it's just been fun to hear other dealers' best practices and to see the news every day, right?
Yeah.
And so I think in our world today, the benefit of social media is flow of information, being able to see a little bit behind the scenes. And in doing that, it's being able to have an experience with people and organizations that are outside that car buying process.
Right.
Buying a car sucks. Nobody likes it.
No.
I could say it even louder. It sucks, and it's a terrible experience.
Yeah.
But that car dealership where people come buy cars is made up of little league coaches, and it is a cross section of the community.
Yeah.
And so you're coming into a space that is represented by everybody in a community, and we want to show that on the podcast. We want to show that in social media clips. More people watch the clips by far than watch the podcast.
Right.
But they see it all throughout the community. Like, I'll go to basketball games or football games or whatever, and the owner will get accolades over all the clips and things we do, and people are seeing what we're focused on within the group. So the goal of it, there was no goal other than communication initially, and I would say today the goal is to let people see behind the scenes in automotive, let automotive become more transparent and less scary. Okay. And in being less scary, hopefully people are more comfortable coming in and having that experience.
Warm up to the community in that way.
Yeah. And it's not crazy expensive, right? Like, you can do it without. I mean, the biggest resource is time, which is expensive, but
But if you spend how much time do you spend per week doing podcasts and stuff?
That's a good question.
Like an hour and a half on air.
So we'll do them in chunks.
Okay.
So we'll record, like with the CDG, we'll do several, in a week or a day.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be hours in 1 week, and then it could be nothing in the next week. So I would be. You're an entrepreneur. I'd be terrified to actually figure out the time, because then I'd probably need to go spend it somewhere else.
Right.
But the result to me seems good.
Yeah, that seems fair. Is
there
there
anything?
anything?
Get fixated, right, on things sometimes.
Is there anything you guys want to share? We're gonna put this out on social. We have such a big audience here. I don't even know what we'll do with them all. But no, sincerely, we'll put these out on a full podcast. Is there anything else you want to share, or a little bit of value that you could give other leaders in your positions, Dennis?
Yeah, I would just say, look, we have to do a good job, and I think Sam leads the way with his podcast and putting it out to the public, and and let the community know that the reputation the retail automotive industry has had, and in some cases has earned, that is not the way we need it to be. So we as dealers and leaders, we need to make sure at every given point that we're always doing the right thing by our employees, and if we're treating our employees right, they're in turn going to treat our customers right, and then when the customers are happy, it just slowly but surely starts to turn the corner. And I think if we provide a great environment for our employees to thrive, the customers get taken care of, and I think we can really turn the tide on that. I think that's the most important thing, because we don't need to be in the news anymore for the wrong reasons.
No.
And there's no reason for it.
Yeah. We have a similar thing here. First, number one thing here at our organization is our employees first, right? And you'd think it would be customers. Customers are a very close second. Let's call them 1.1. But point is if we take care of the employees and they feel like they're doing or wanting to go to a job and do it every day, they're naturally going to take care of the customers. Anything you want to add to this before we take off?
So give me the question one more time, because I was thinking about what you just said.
What else would you, what other points of value you could possibly give to someone else that's in your position, or something like that people can take away from this conversation?
One of the biggest things I say is automotive has more opportunity than any other industry out there, right?
1 in 7 people. Right?
Yep. People have heard me say this a lot. It's the last great American industry in the world. It's a leading economic indicator of health in the U.S. economy. It's members of our community end up making up the dealerships in which we live and work. And to Dennis's point, transparency helps us all. And the experience of buying a car in the past has been a challenge.
Yeah.
It gets better, to your point, when we take care of those employees, we give them a path, we have a great vision, and we replicate things that are important to them in the community. There's no other industry where people with such diverse backgrounds can come in, work together toward a common goal, and make a significant impact in the world as a result. And that's really the message. I know Dennis gets out every single day. I get it out every single day too. And the more we talk about that, the more we attract the right kind of employees to join our group and our because people that don't want to do it the right way, they're going to go work somewhere else and do it somewhere else.
Right.
People that believe in that idea, they see it out there and they're like, hey, I want to join the group. Because, by the way, we pay as well as anyone in the industry.
Yeah.
But pay is not the single most important factor
Right.
in employee satisfaction. I mean, a lot of people think they are, and don't get me wrong, we pay well.
You certainly want to pay
Right.
people well,
But
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest, most important things is a little bit of work-life balance, right? And the ability to make a difference in the world and have an impact, and know that what you do every single day when you show up to work has that impact. So
one of my favorite things. I am a car guy. I guess I like certain cars, and I could talk all day about them. But one of my favorite things about, and we talked about this in your interview with me earlier, is that the dealership is this beautiful little economic machine inside the community where all those people have mortgages to pay. All of those people have children and different things, and it brings together everyone to get a car, which is nothing more American than cars and apple pie, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to have that all in one place, I just think it's beautiful. I just love it. And shiny metal and cool cars and cool, it just makes me happy.
And guess what? That's why people like us,
Yeah.
we get in the auto industry.
Where we have a job.
For the first many years, we're like, get me out of here.
Sure.
Because I'm not sure I'm totally comfortable being in this industry. And then decades later, you're like, holy cow, this is freaking cool.
There is a path. In automotive, if you're hungry enough, there's always a path to another place, It's really great. Well, thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Super cool to have you. And where can we find you, by the way? Tell us about where can we find you for the podcast?
So I work at Zeigler Auto Group.
Right.
And our external podcast is called the Driving Vision Podcast. So we interview interesting people. And then you can go to the CDG Car Dealership Guy.
Which you've been working
And
on.
all of our social media platforms end up having clips and whatnot.
Okay.
If you want to come work for us, go to our LinkedIn page, Zeigler Auto Group, or to mine, and shoot me a link.
Excellent.
So,
and then
message.
you have been working on this finance company. Do you want to just tell people about that?
Shameless plug,
Yeah,
I appreciate these.
There's nobody better, by the way, than Dennis.
So I paid him ahead of time, but no. So it's
Mutually beneficial. That's what we're all about here.
Yeah. I work at the Niello Company because that's number one. The finance company is great, and I appreciate that. But the Niello Company, if you're looking for employment opportunities in a warmer part of the country, you can go to Niello.com.
Better than
Fill out an application after this.
Louisiana, actually, right now. Yeah.
But Niello.com, we're always looking for people that want to do the right thing. We want them to be proud when they leave work, and if they want to go out to dinner, feel comfortable leaving the Niello shirt on their back before they change.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like that.
great sense.
I worked a place I didn't feel
Make them talk about you at dinner. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's it. But Niello.com, I lurk on LinkedIn a little bit, but on AutoFi Pro, if you're a dealer looking for some finance support, whether it be reinsurance, training, or whatever, we got a small team that loves to serve the dealer group and help them grow their business, and we can share some of the best practices.
Excellent.
Because the better the industry does, the better we all do.
Right. I agree. Well, thank you both for being here, guys. Thank you so much.